In this video, I'm going to spend some time to show some of the delta tools that we had discussed in the previous video on the settings. What I want to cover more here is how some of these tools can help you in your trading and bringing some clarity and color to the market structure and the order flow. If we run through these menu options, you can see here the convention here is display hide for the histogram. This is for the actual profile where it enables volume, ticks and delta, the numbers. This section here covers a horizontal volume analysis, which is the filter for volume at price at the bid or the ask. This setting here, this determines the minimum value. So any bid or ask volume that is greater than the current setting of the slider will show a circle. In the settings video, I explained that the colors of the horizontal ones would be red and blue with a dot, and the diagonal ones, which you can see are showing here in the chart, are the magenta for the bid side and yellow for the ask side, and I've set those to a slightly thicker width setting of 2 for the purposes of this video. In the settings video I discussed also how you can set the maximum size of your slider, which is more tuned into the market you trade. For thinner markets like gold and 6E, you would typically have the maximum to be a smaller value of order 500-600. What this does is it enables the sensitivity of the slider to be enhanced to pinpoint more specific values. So that has been covered in the settings. The value below adjusts the size of the actual circles themselves. So you can see these are relative to the current bar width, and depending on the number of bars you have in view in your chart, it will adjust the circle size. The software is continually monitoring which is the largest value on the screen, and so thus you'll see a relative sizing of the circles in comparison to the largest value on the chart. So the convenience display hide means by toggling that simply brings it into view on the chart, or it can be turned off. At the moment I've turned off these ones. I just need to adjust down the volume setting. So you can see now that the dotted red and blue have come into view, and I'll cover these separately. For now I'm going to turn these off and look at the diagonal bid-ask difference. So one of the key features of the two main parts of the add-on, the horizontal and the diagonal, are to help bring into view areas of high volume imbalance either on the diagonal, or to filter large prints at the bid or the ask. So dynamically we can filter and change the minimums, so it brings into view areas on our structure or where we're looking to trade, or levels to see was there any imbalance on the ask or the bid side that's going to facilitate and give me that extra confidence to take my trade. So if I leave the setting there and just take a look at the chart here, just to give an overview of what's going on here. Where you see an overlapping of the magenta and the yellow here, we clearly have here what's typically known as a push-pull fight zone. The market pulls away, and we see we have a retest here, and it falls back down. Coming in here, we have more aggressive market orders on the ask side, still some sellers trying to push down. It comes down here, we have some strong trading at the bid side, and the market moves up, pushes through this level with 2 strong circles at the ask side. So what typically we look for here is, do we have any traders that are trapped? Yes, down at this level, we come up and retest this zone here, which was a fight zone, testing around the 62.20 level. We have a retest and the market pulls away. I'm also just going to zoom in on this area here, and I'm going to add a profile just for this swing that broke away from the low. You also see that in this profile I've enabled the VWAP history line, which comes as part of the core OFA. I've also just enabled another feature that's enabled as part of the add-on is the fibs. Whilst you will see the fib tab, the actual functioning and application of those is for the actual add-on. So you won't see any of these settings until the add-on is actually enabled. I've set the 38.2 and the 50 level just for the purposes of this here, but you can also see these negative values and the values greater than 100. These have been provided for trading extensions and deeper retracements. So say for example you want to check on a measured move, you would typically use 150, or if you want to use these for a measured move of your swing profile, you can use 150 or 200, or going the other way, minus 100 and minus 150. So in adding this profile to this region, just to bring some color to what's actually happening here, in terms of looking for identifying a trade location, you can see here this zone here, the push-pull. We've broken through with a very strong ask market volume, and we have this retest at a confluence of the zone between the CWAP and just below the VWAP here, and also the 50% of the swing. We have confirmation in the cumulative delta below. Cumulative delta, which I'll cover in this and some more examples, typically is either a confirmation of price action, or it shows areas of divergence. For example, in this area, price here made a lower low, but the actual cumulative delta did not. So we see here, and it adds to the story of the unfolding of the market here, that we have trapped sellers here. So there was a drop in price below that low, so trapped, it looks as though it's captured those stops under this level and broken away. So adding to the confluence of our trading here, it just brings more color to what's actually happening, and to give you that extra confirmation and confidence to actually place your trade. Some of the things to consider when you're looking at your structure, in addition to the volume circles, is where do the bid circles and the ask circles appear. We see the market has pushed up and then fallen back here right into this zone here, again with some selling at the bid, and the market pushes away. So again, another confirmation of trapped sellers here. And following from this, we see also up here large activity at the ask, which gives us some location to consider to either taking off some profits. It's giving us market generated information that the market is either taking a pause, other profit taking is happening, or there's just a potential range developing in this zone. Scrolling forward into this day, you see that there was a very strong push down of the bid size orders here. There wasn't any follow through really, and then the market pushed up and retested that zone. So again, use this information to see, do we have follow through? I covered that briefly in the documentation to consider the effort versus result for these kind of prints, looking for follow through or a retest. In this instance, there is some information here in the delta here. As you see, it's falling, but the price is really kind of holding in a range. So it does give us some indication or some absorption happening here. And indeed you can see a retest of this zone and the market continues to push up. So I'm just giving you some pointers to consider when you're seeing this activity in terms of what you're looking for. Rather than immediately taking a trade, wait for the follow through and the retest. Consider the location. For example, at this part we see strong activity on the ask side. Always consider who is on the other side of this. Scrolling forward to some other areas in the CL chart here, we see up here we have a very strong series and sequence of strong bid imbalance, and the market pulls back up here and we retest this area and it falls away. When you see strong circles on the bid size near the top of a swing, typically it adds reinforcement that there's very strong presence of sellers at this level. Conversely, at the bottom of a swing, if you see the yellow circles, which represent the ask volume, this is a good indication that buyers are actually stepping in at that level. Versus the opposite being where if we see yellow circles at the top of a swing, or magenta circles at the bottom of a swing, that generally is more indicative of profit taking, a pause in the market, and trap traders. So just consider the location in the momentum and the structure of the market as to where these circles appear. So let's take a look at a couple of other markets here. We have gold, which is a slightly thinner market. I just want to show you here that the setting here is considerably lower. And if you look at this area in the chart up here, as I was mentioning before, we have strong selling at the bid imbalance, almost a double triple top at this area, and the market falls away considerably. So again, location is key to assessing what kind of activity the market is trying to tell us here in terms of the real-time generated information. And also, if we're looking below, we see an example of the cumulative delta where we have a high here. We've just broken up to make two higher highs, but the actual cumulative delta has actually fallen away. So there's more selling occurring relatively in that period, giving that extra confirmation to take that trade. We have the breakaway and then a retest of that zone. Another market to look at here is the ZB that I have up here. I've set this to an OFA 5-3 chart. We can see here that there's a transition zone that's been battled out here, and that the buyers break through this with a retest of the structure, followed by additional strong aggressive action on the ask. You see the breakout and then the retest. So these are very key locations to add colour to the structure and confidence, with confirmation also with the cumulative delta in this zone. Looking at the ES here, we see here, and this is actually later on in the day session, we have strong presence here of slightly more on the ask side at the lower end relative to the bid side. The market pulls away, we have the confirmation of delta, and we can see here there's where you see very low values here, it's kind of indicative of a balance of buyers and sellers in that period. The market pulls away, so more aggressive action on the ask side. And if you look here, we have again the confirmation of the delta, retesting of this zone, and the market continues all the way up. So rather than looking to pinpoint and trade reversals at this location, trying to find the top or conversely the bottom of the market, always consider what is the follow through of this activity here. And then again here we see the retest. And we have another retest here of this zone with, notice here, the market is making new highs and the cumulative delta is actually making lower lows here. So again, more context, and this is without adding the profile here. I just want to, this other videos will cover combinations of the profile and this tool, but I really, the purpose of this is I just want to draw some attention to the diagonals. As a contrast here, I've disabled the diagonal circles. You can obviously set both of these if you just want to see and compare the activity on the diagonal versus the volume at price. Setting the ratio size for each to be slightly different, and also in the settings I've set the horizontal to be dotted so that you have a comparison to differentiate the two. I'm going to switch the diagonals off. So if you look at on the chart here, we have the current setting on this for the horizontal is 495. So anything greater than 495 on the bid or the ask will appear as a circle. So we have a lot of buyer activity here, and then we have a strong selling amount here at the bid, and the market tries to push down, it comes back through that level and a retest, breaks away to a new high where we see this larger ask print, falls away, and it has a retest of this larger value here. So it's giving us a slightly different read on the market. I just want to show an example here that you may just want to spend some time in comparing for the different instruments that you trade, be that ES, gold, bonds, 6E, 6B, just so that you can see how the volume is applied, you know, in this current marketplace, which as you know has changed. So for now I'll leave it at there. We will be doing more videos just to provide some more examples of using the imbalance and the horizontal, and also more to cover on the fib analysis options. So this will be covered in future videos.